I only ever wanted to be a good person, to help others, like he helped me.
He's in here. I keep trying to get him out of bed, but he just won't even try anymore.
Is he the only one in the family to exhibit this legacy?
Yes, neither of us have any missed at all. We don't know where it came from.
Legacies have the ability to skip many generations. One of your ancestors must have managed to master this ability, so there is hope for him still.
Please, help our son.
Let me speak to him.
Thank you, Yoru. Please do your best.
Go away. I don't want to talk to anyone else. You can't help me.
You're right. I can't. But I can teach you to help yourself.
You don't understand what I'm going through. No one does.
Correct again. Only you know what you're going through.
Did my parents send you in here just to agree with everything I say, or to fix me?
No. They sent me in here to train you.
Train me? I can't even stand up without falling. If I move too much in bed, I slide off. What could you possibly know about how to train me?
Because I am like you. I was your age when my legacy first appeared. My grandmother's legacy. She could move faster than anyone in the world. In fact, she could probably run around the world before you finished eating breakfast.
That legacy sounds incredible. Why would that be anything like mine?
Because when my legacy awoke, I learned the truth about her power. Each step she took was like a flash of lightning. Every conversation she had with me was a day long. She wasn't just moving fast, but the world was moving slowly to her. Time seemed to stop in place when my legacy first arrived. I moved too fast to do anything. Oh, in fact, I sped through almost every outfit I had. To shreds, the moment I moved.
What did you do?
I've learned to control it, to harness my power. It took years, but nothing is easy to master.
So, you have to do everything slow? Doesn't that get boring?
At first, it was agony. But as I learned to control my power, it became the world I lived in. I learned to speak slowly and to listen for hours. Now, I want to see you try. Get out of bed.
But I'll fall.
Correct. But then, you'll stand up. Excellent. You're making progress.
It took me an hour to cross the room to the door. That's hardly impressive.
It is to me. Now, get ready for Yoru's amazing training extravaganza. Faster! Keep up with me.
I was never good at skating.
Now, it's all about timing. Push yourself with the friction and then glide with it. Now you've got it!
Master, are you okay?
I am A-okay. Let's keep going.
What am I gonna do without you?
Keep standing up, Rick. Taller and taller. Stand up for what's right. I love you, Rick.
I love you too, Master Yoru.
Rick, someone from Oakvale is here for you. Someone named Professor Winstone with, Class Blue.
Yoru was a former colleague of mine. He spoke quite highly of you in his correspondence with me. I'm sorry for your loss. I know the two of you became close in the last years of his life. I'd like to invite you to be a pupil of mine at the tower. He recommended you specifically for Class Blue.
What an incredible match! Rick Rivers, the underdog from Class Blue, has defeated Zarian of Class Red!
This is so unfair!
I don't regret a single thing. Well, maybe that I won't be able to see my students become who they were meant to be. But this is all worth it.
Balthazar stood frozen in place, the blade a hair's breadth from his eye. The attack, intended for him, had stopped short, just barely. Rick stood in front of him. A drop of blood slid down the edge of the blade, dripping to the floor in front of the now trembling student.
How interesting.
Professor?
What happened? It was so fast.
It's okay, young Balthazar. Everything will be fine.
Professor, no!
Professor!
Ruby attempted to run forward, but a vine shot out of the ground, stopping her from intervening.
Let me go!
No.
I'm not the only one with lessons for you, Ruby. Let Onyx finish hers.
Onyx slowly, almost methodically, removed the scythe from Rick's body. Rick crumpled to the ground. The impact wasn't loud, but it felt like a thunderclap in the silence. Zarian stood in horror, his hands shaking. Rick wasn't moving. He tried to step forward. He tried to reach him, but Onyx moved in a flash, her scythe now at Xander's neck.
If anyone moves, I'm taking another one with me.
Don't.
Rick's trembling hand lifted, pointing towards Zarian. Suddenly, a voice echoed in Zarian's mind. Weak, distant, but unmistakably Rick's.
I saved him, right? I don't think I can talk anymore.
You did. You could have let that blade slide right off you. What were you thinking?
She wasn't gonna leave unless one of us died. Take care of them, will you?
Rick, what am I going to do without you?
I wish I could stick around longer, but...
The voice faded. Zarian felt it. The unbearable, crushing absence. The moment someone else's presence in the world vanishes, Rick's chest rose, then fell, and then nothing. Onyx moved quickly. She reached into her pouch, retrieving 2 small, ancient-looking coins. She placed them over Rick's closed eyes. Then, Rick's body evaporated into wisps of shadow, pulled into one of the coins in a fell swoop. Gone. Nothing remained. Only the blood-stained stone. Onyx picked up the remaining coin.
Onyx, it is time to leave.
I'm done anyway.
Use your time wisely, puppets of the tower. The next time we meet, it will be on the battlefield.
Before any of them had realized, Foundation had vanished. The silence of the moment was broken only by the distant sound of armored footsteps. Wielders were closing in.
We need to get out of here. Now.
He's really gone. I can't believe it. Professor.
Professor Rivers, how will we?
The students began to weep, their shock settling into grief. Zarian stood motionless, staring at the pool of blood left behind. Nova felt their pain, her chest tight, tears burning in her eyes. But she knew this was their only chance to escape.
I feel your sadness, I really do, but we need to leave now!
Nova grabbed Balthazar's hand and pulled him towards the mine, followed quickly by the others. Zarian was still unmoving, his body rigid, his breath unsteady.
Teach, we gotta leave now, come on!
Right, sorry, come on.
They dashed into the mine just as the wielders arrived at the ruined battlefield. Heavy boots clattered against the stone, voices shouting orders to find the enemy. A moment more, and they would have been trapped. Skarn stood at the entrance to the mine. He placed his hands on the rock face.
Resonance palm.
The cliffside quaked. A rock slide came cascading down, sealing the entrance. Dust filled the air, the sounds of the wielder's pursuit muffled by the collapsed passage.
We had escaped the city with hundreds of bloodless at our side, their chains left behind in the collapsing tunnels. The cold night air had never felt so fresh, so free. Yet for them, there was no home waiting beyond the mountains, no city eager to welcome them back. They were on their own now. But in their uncertainty, they found something greater, a leader. Belric had been their anchor in that dark mine, the voice that had kept them from breaking. We didn't save all the bloodless. So many more were locked away in other mines, sent to work for the armies of Cinderfall. Diamond claimed he would free them, but could we trust him? We helped who we could. We traveled through the night, pushing ourselves until our legs ached and our lungs burned. Every time we slowed, Krisha kept us moving, scouting ahead, ensuring no Cinderfall pursuers were closing in. We didn't stop until the city was little more than a glimmer of distant flames on the horizon. That was when Krisha finally stopped walking.
Are you ready, Krisha?
Krisha turned to Nova.
This is where I leave you.
What? No, absolutely not.
Krisha, we did this together. You don't have to do anything alone anymore.
Krisha only smiled, small and bittersweet, shaking her head.
I was never meant to stay, Nova. You knew that, didn't you?
I did, but that didn't make it any easier. I watched as she turned to each of us, lingering, as if memorizing our faces. When she reached Ren, he hesitated only for a moment before pulling her into a tight embrace.
Hey, this year's. Be careful.
You too, Lightning Boy. This isn't goodbye.
Briar didn't say anything at first. Hells, they could both be so stubborn. But when Krisha gave a smile and pulled away, Briar grabbed her wrist.
I'm not great with goodbyes. So...
Then don't say it. This is just... till next time.
Just... don't get yourself killed, okay?
No promises.
And then, finally, she turned to me. She didn't need to say anything. I understood. You don't have to do this alone.
Maybe not. But this is where my path leads. And I'm not alone, I've got them.
When you need us, when you're ready, we'll be there.
I know. Amara, Orion, thanks for everything.
You know where to find me if you need anything.
And Oakvale's gates are always open. You might consider bringing them with you.
We'll forge our own path, but thank you, Reyna. Sorry, Amara. We know that the dragons are an ally. We won't forget that.
Krisha turned and stepped in line with the bloodless as they began their march into the unknown. The horizon was tinged with the first light of dawn, golden and quiet, stretching across the open land before them.
You idiot, are you really just gonna stand there?
What am I supposed to do?
Offer to help her, you moron.
But what about my training with you and...
You don't need me anymore, kid, but them, they need you more. Go.
Ren hesitated only for a second before a grin broke out across his face.
Hey, this year's! Wait up!
Ren, goodbyes are already hard enough the first time.
Well, I was thinking, I know you don't need protecting yourself or anything like that, but...
Obviously.
But there's a lot of them, and just one of you. So, maybe... Would you mind if I tagged along?
Yes, you can come with me.
Ren barely had time to register her words before Nova stepped forward, wrapping him in a tight hug.
Don't try to stop me, my mind's made up.
I wasn't going to. I love you, Ren.
Briar immediately piled onto the hug, practically tackling him.
Take care out there, Dunderhead. I love you too.
I can't believe it. You're already heading out into the world. I'm proud of you, Ren. You're doing the right thing.
Next time we meet, Teach, we're having a rematch.
Zarian extended a hand, but Ren scoffed and pulled him in for a hug instead. They lingered there for a moment, a final warmth before the road ahead. Then, Ren took a deep breath and stepped back. He turned, taking his first steps towards Krisha. Skarn placed his hand on Ren's shoulder, stopping him for a brief moment.
Hey kid, your dad is Donovan, right?
Yeah, what of it?
Thought you should know. He's been trying to make contact with Foundation.
Good to know. Thanks.
All right. Whoever isn't leaving, we're teleporting to the Temple of the Storm. Say your final goodbyes now.
Ren and Krisha turned to look at their friends, their family. The group smiled back at them, holding on to every last second before the teleportation circle activated. In a brilliant pulse of light, they were gone. Silence settled. Ren turned to Krisha, the weight of his choice sinking in, but the fire of excitement in his chest never wavered.
You nervous?
Nah. You?
Not even a little.
Together, they stepped forward, rejoining the Bloodless as their journey truly began.
We spent the next few weeks at the Temple of the Storm, letting our bodies and spirits recover. Amara and Orion rested, their wounds slow to heal, but in time their strength returned. For the rest of us, the exhaustion ran deeper than just bruises and broken bones. We had lost a mentor, a friend, a part of our family. We mourned Rick together. The ceremony was small, just us, gathered under the temple's vast sky, the wind carrying our words into the open air. We didn't let it become a funeral. Rick wouldn't have wanted that. Instead, we shared stories celebrating his life and the way he had lived it. Loud, full of confidence, always the first to crack a joke, always the last to back down from a fight. Zarian led most of the stories, hiding his grief behind laughter. He painted Rick as larger than life, a fearless prankster, a man who could pep talk you into any daring situation. The stories made us laugh, even as the weight of his absence pressed heavy on our hearts. But I could see it. The way Zarian's hands clenched a little too tight. The way his eyes lingered on the empty space beside him. I saw the grief he wouldn't let us see. Time passed, and eventually the sorrow dulled into something quieter. Something we carried with us instead of drowning in it. Then came the question we had all been avoiding. What now? We couldn't stay hidden forever. Cinderfall had declared war. The world was changing, and we had to decide our place in it. Finally, we chose our next steps.
Class Blue and I are going to head back to Oakvale. I think we might walk. Maybe stop by some of those towns you mentioned. They need a warning of what's coming. Plus, a few months on the road might be good for us.
Good idea. I think the Pillars need to hear the truth about who I am and what we know. Plus, we need to keep training, Briar.
We're going to find a way to defeat that onyx-masked necromancer. Right now, our chances are low.
But with Xander's brains, we'll be able to come up with something.
And we'll get stronger. Together.
It'll give me a good reason to get stronger myself.
Are you going to be okay?
I will be. Besides, I never got a chance to tell you. I need to master my legacy so I can save someone.
Who?
My mother. When I was asleep, after my fight with Foundation, I found her. Or, I think I did. It wasn't just a dream. It felt real. I saw her trapped somewhere, calling out to me. I don't know where, but I know one thing. She's alive.
When I get back, if there's anything I can do to help, I'm sure the lady knows where to look.
Thanks, Nova.
I'll need to brief the council on everything as soon as possible.
What are you going to do about Donovan?
The headmaster knows everything I know, but it's too risky to do anything right now.
Agreed. It's better to keep an eye on him.
Are you coming with us, Orion?
No, I need to stay here. The temple needs someone to guard it. Makes sense that it should be me. Besides, you're not going back to Oakvale.
Of course she is.
My training, is that it?
Exactly. But you're done training with me. I think I've taught you everything I know. It's time you met someone who can teach you everything you need.
Who?
Oh, you'll see. In fact, I think it's time I take you there now, when you're ready.
Nova looked up at her friends, her family, the people who had fought and bled beside her, laughed and struggled and survived together. She had always known this moment would come, that the path ahead was hers to walk alone. But knowing didn't make it easier. She looked at Amara, who gave a gentle smile. Then to Briar. As much as she tried to contain her emotions, tears welled in Briar's eyes. Nova pulled her in tight.
I'll be back when I'm done with my training. I promise.
You said we'll get stronger together. How can I get stronger without you pushing me to be my best self?
You already are your best self.
Nova held Briar's face in her hand, wiping a tear away from her cheek. Their eyes met, unspoken words passing between them. She grabbed Nova's face with both hands and pulled her in, their lips meeting in a kiss that held every unspoken feeling, every moment they had been too afraid to put into words. Nova felt her heart stop, time pausing for just a moment. For a brief, fleeting instant, she forgot about everything: the war, training, the uncertainty of the future. When they finally pulled away, Nova exhaled with a smile, a small, happy laugh escaping her. Briar laughed too, their foreheads resting together as tears kept falling, though neither of them cared.
I love you, Briar.
Nova, I love you too.
Let my mom know I'm okay.
Orion walked to Amara and briefly grabbed her hand. For a moment, they didn't speak. They didn't need to. Their eyes met, sharing something quiet, something unspoken. A moment of understanding. Then, with a quiet, knowing smile, Orion gave her hand a final squeeze before turning back to Nova.
Come on, Ravenwood. It's a bit of a journey where we're headed.
Nova took one last look before following Orion into the temple and up the stairs. She exhaled slow and steady, pushing down the emotions swelling in her chest.
You'll be all right. You'll see her again before you know it.
I know, but I'm worried everyone will be different. Changed.
Yeah, that'll happen anyway. You'll be different the next time you see them too. But you'll still love them. I promise.
Are we getting something from the temple?
No, I'm taking you somewhere.
Orion and Nova had reached the top floor, and before them stood the ancient mosaic door, the door with the beautiful artwork of a wolf's head. He pressed his palm against the door, and the air began suddenly shifting. The dust that had settled for years stirred, the carvings pulsing with faint light.
The reason I haven't left this dusty old museum is because I'm guarding this door.
The wolf door.
And it's time to open it.
As Orion's hand pressed deeper onto the stone, the walls began to shudder, the sound of unseen mechanisms grinding to life beneath them. Nova took a step back as the ancient tiles glowed and the door swung open.
After you.
Nova held her breath as she stepped through the door, the anticipation of what may lay on the other side making her heart pound. Orion followed behind as the door sealed shut behind them. Orion ushered her to keep her walking forward as Nova noticed water was pooling at the bottom of her feet. It felt as if they walked a mile in the cold darkness. Orion guiding her through the labyrinth of what felt like sewer tunnels. Finally, she saw light.
Where are we?
Welcome, Nova Ravenwood, to Valadria.
Orion pushed open a metal door and light spilled in, flooding the dim space behind them. The moment Nova stepped forward, The world crashed into her senses all at once. A cacophony of sounds and sights engulfed her. Voices layered upon voices, footsteps pounding against stone and metal, laughter, shouts, and the rhythmic clatter of unseen machinery. The street before them pulsed with life, a river of motion where elves strode in elegant robes beside orcs, clad in heavy armor, tieflings with glowing eyes bartered with winged angels, and devils with curling horns laughed in the company of beings she couldn't even name. Every species, every form she could even imagine, and many she hadn't, moved as one through the chaotic flow of the city. Nova stood frozen, her gaze darting from face to face, from towering constructs in the distance to glowing symbols hovering in the air. She felt impossibly small against the sheer magnitude of it all. She had never seen anything like this. She locked eyes with a beautiful, yet haunting winged devil.
What are you looking at?
Nothing. Sorry, nothing.
You're fine. Are you looking to make a bargain?
Beat it, devil.
Kashima, have you ever been to this place?
Valadria? Of course. It hasn't changed one bit. Not that the mistress would allow that.
The mistress?
The mistress of infinite paths. These gods and their titles. What a mouthful. Nevertheless, this is her domain. She controls everything here, keeping everyone in line. She no doubt has taken interest in us. She most likely senses my presence in you. Visiting gods are not welcome to stay long here.
Then we should keep moving. Orion, where are we headed?
Just a bit further, trust me.
Orion led Nova down twisting streets, where the golden glow of lanterns faded into dim flickers. The streets grew narrower, the stone giving way to slick, worn cobblestones. The air thick with smoke and rot. The city's hum dulled to hushed voices and distant clattering. Shadows stretched long, twisting over leaning wooden structures. The smell of decay mixed with something acrid, as garbage piled in corners. After weaving through a particularly foul-smelling alley, Orion stopped. Before them stood a sagging, ramshackle building. Slumped against the doorway, a kobold snored loudly.
Hey, wake up! You're sleeping on the clock.
You don't pay good enough to keep me awake all night and day. Do you need passage?
Yes, for the two of us.
That'll be extra since you disturbed my beauty sleep, elk boy.
Or, how about I don't throw you back down to Avernus where I found you?
All right, just teasing you. Dragons ain't got no sense of humor. Brog grabbed a keyring off his belt, finding a single rusty key. He placed it into the corroded lock of the door. Have fun! Orion and Nova stepped through. The door opened into a low, shadowed cavern, the walls slick with damp stone. As the door swung shut behind them, it vanished into the side of a weathered marble statue. A man cloaked in a wolf's pelt, half lost to time. They descended a short set of worn stairs. A thin mist clung to the ground, and the air was cool, carrying the scent of wet earth and something ancient. Nova turned to speak to Orion, but where he had stood was now a stranger, a tall, broad-shouldered man wearing an unusual outfit.
Why do you look like that?
I need to blend in. That means you too.
Orion extended his hand towards Nova, and a flash of light enveloped her. Her clothing quickly transformed into unfamiliar garments.
Been a while since I visited this plane. I'm sure it's a little out of date. Oh well, come on, let's keep moving.
Wait, plane? Where on Meliora are we?
We're not on Meliora anymore, kid. Now keep moving. Now, hold on, I've only been there once, so I need concentration to teleport us there.
Orion muttered draconic words under his breath as glowing sigils appeared around them. Nova closed her eyes as Orion teleported them to yet another destination. Nova stepped onto solid ground, but it wasn't quite stone, nor was it earth. It was something smooth, hard, yet strangely lifeless beneath her boots. stretching into long ribbons that crisscrossed and divided the world into strange, angular patterns. The air was thick, not with smoke or mist, but with something electric, a hum she could feel in her chest. Light poured from impossible towers, jagged and shimmering, their sheer sides reflecting the world back at her in distorted, fragmented images. Some lights pulsed like stars caught in glass. Others flickered in strange patterns, but without the presence of mist. Strange sounds howled in her ear, like screaming banshees as metal carriages moved by them.
Orion, where the hells are we? And oh, Ten, what is that smell?
If I remember correctly, it's called Manhattan. I was a little off, but not too bad. Here's where he lives. We're almost there. And I think it always smells here.
Orion guided a confused and befuddled Nova into one of the buildings, opening the glass door and guiding her into a small room with smooth metal doors. They slid shut as Orion pressed a button that lit up like a torch. The room whirred and shook.
What is happening?
It's okay, don't worry.
With a ring of a bell, the doors opened and Orion stepped out.
Did we teleport again?
No, we're on a different floor. Come on, he's number 603.
They walked down the hallway until the door read 603. Nova's heart pounded in her chest.
Go on, knock.
Dad?
Nova?
Nova immediately embraced Nox, pulling him in tight. Tears began to stream down her face. She didn't want to let go of him, not ever again. He wrapped his arms around her, still processing the fact his daughter was standing on his doorstep.
Dad, what are you doing here? What's going on?
I'm sorry. This was the only way. I was hoping you'd never get mixed up in this. But I see it's time for you to know the truth.
About what?
About everything.
Nox ushered them into his apartment as the door closed behind them. Meanwhile, at Foundation headquarters.
Well, that was a bust.
Do not fret. I know who has eruption. In time, he will come to us. I suspect he is also in possession of the Black Dragon's legacy.
We've collected 6 so far. Once Desert Thorn brings you Eclipse, all we'll need are the 2 he has. If I'm correct in assuming they're with Professor Ravenwood. Are you sure this war will be enough to force him back onto the game board?
Oh, yes. He will not be able to stand idle while old comrades and children fight this war. I've set the wheel in motion. No doubt Orion has gone to meet with him.
That's 9 legacies. What about the 10th?
When I possess the 9, I will be able to summon forth what's left of Aurelius and claim it myself. I am not yet ready for such a trial. A few years of training and recovery will allow me enough time to face him. I suggest all of us train to the utmost. We have a war to win. Emerald, it seems Briar might pose a threat. Her power has grown beyond our expectations. I trust you will prepare yourself accordingly.
Of course. If there's nothing else, may I be dismissed?
Yes.
Emerald turned and walked away. Under her mask, a small smile curled on her lips.
Wake me up when something exciting is happening.
The room was now empty, save for Diamond and Ruby.
Choices were made today. I want to make sure you can accept them.
Of course. I'm fine.
I know that you are not. But you will be. In time. We have all lost people we love in the lives we left behind. Today was a tragedy for Kira, not for Ruby. You are becoming something greater than that girl could have ever imagined.
You don't have to worry. Now, if you don't need anything else, I'm going to the training hall.
Before you go,
Yes?
we are not monsters. You will see.
Yes, of course, Diamond.
Ruby stepped into the hallway, her footsteps echoing against the cold stone as she disappeared into darkness. The fire crackled softly. Diamond began to unwrap the bandages around his arm, examining his hand, now clawed and scaled like the other one. Diamond inhaled deeply, his fingers hovering for a moment before finally grasping the edge of the mask. Slowly, he lifted it from his head. Lavender hair tumbled out, catching the flickering firelight. Gold scales framed his face. He leaned back in his chair, eyes half-lidded as the warmth of the fire brushed against his face. The face of Magnus Ravenwood. Warlock, Episode 35, Goodbye. Nova is voiced by Claire Clausen. Ren and Balthazar by Nick Akins. Briar by Sasha Cifuentes. Krisha by Kate Aviles. Rick by Isaac Otterman. Orion and Rick's dad by Kyle Ware. Amara by Megan Massey Ware. Rick's mom by Amanda Maddox. Young Rick by Landon Dodrill. Yoru by Zach Stone. Skarn by Matthew Quattlebaum. Xander by Jeremy Cobb. Shiri by Casey Cole. Diamond and Knox by Brandon Meeks. Emerald by Abigail Bailey Maupin. Onyx by Alicia Espinoza. Ruby by Shelby Villeneuve. Headmaster and the Lady by Tamara Deering. Devil by Neil Robertson. Belric by Justin Jackson. Mendel Zarian and Brog by Zachary Burrell. Additional casting by Megan Massey Ware. Special thanks to all of our Patreon members who help bring this show to life. Music and sound effects by Epidemic Sounds. Special thanks to Wizards of the Coast. If you're enjoying the show, please leave us a review on your preferred platform. Thank you.
Mendel, are you okay if we take a break? We still have so much to tell. Maybe we should skip ahead.
Yeah, that's great. Why don't we take a short break and then we'll return for part 2?